It started with a knock. Jonathan had lived in his apartment for nearly 5 years. It was a quiet place, third floor, end of the hall, away from the noise of the city. He liked it that way. No disturbances. No unwanted guests. But one night, just past midnight, a soft knock echoed through his apartment. Tap, tap, tap. He sat up in bed, heart pounding. No one ever visited him this late. He hesitated, staring at the door. Then it came again. Tap, tap, tap. Jonathan crept to the peephole, breathing shallowly. When he looked through it, there was nothing. Just the dimly lit hallway. With a nervous chuckle, he shook his head and went back to bed. He had barely laid down when... Tap, tap, tap. He shot up, his skin crawling. He checked the peephole again. Still nothing. But this time, as he turned away, something changed. A shadow moved under the door. Not a passing figure. Not a trick of the light. It stayed there, unmoving, stretching across the floor like something was crouching just outside, waiting. His breath caught in his throat. Then, in the dead silence of the apartment, a voice, low, hoarse, and almost amused, whispered from the other side of the door. "I see you." Jonathan stumbled backward, heart hammering. He didn't reply. Didn't move. The shadow under the door slowly slid away. And the knocking stopped. For that night. The next morning, Jonathan tried to laugh it off. Maybe he had been dreaming. Maybe it was just some prank. But something inside him wouldn't let it go. That evening, he placed a chair against the door before going to bed. At 12:03 a.m., the knocking returned. Tap, tap, tap. This time, Jonathan didn't move. He clutched the covers, staring at the door from his bed. Tap, tap, tap. He squeezed his eyes shut. He wasn't going to look. He wasn't going to scrape. A slow, dragging sound ran along the bottom of the door as if nails, or worse, were scraping against the wood. Then a whisper, softer this time, almost playful. "Why won't you answer?" Jonathan buried his face in his pillow, trembling. He didn't sleep the rest of the night. By the third night, he had convinced himself it was paranoia. He was just imagining things. So he stayed up, kept the lights on, and when the knocking started, he forced himself to be brave. Tap, tap, tap. He took a deep breath, marched to the door, and checked the peephole. Darkness. Not the empty hallway, just black. As if something was blocking the peephole entirely. His stomach twisted. His hand shook as he reached for the knob. And then, a single eye opened in the darkness. A milky, sunken eye staring straight into his. Jonathan screamed and fell backward. The knocking turned frantic, louder, faster, pounding. And then, just as suddenly, silence. The eye was gone. The hallway was empty again. But Jonathan wasn't alone. Because as he turned around, he saw something even worse. The closet door behind him, the one he knew he had locked, was now slightly open. And something inside was breathing. Waiting. Smiling.